kid, Zeke Silva.
Mr. Silva, what kind of illegal activity have you experienced in the past?
Well, I went to go pick up my dad to take him to vote. As a family, we usually go out and vote, and this time around I had told my dad that I would pick him at the Casa de Amigos here in Brownsville on El Paso Road at a little bit after 4 o'clock. When I arrived at the retirement home, I noticed that there was a van parked illegally blocking the entrance of the on-ramp and access to the handicap zone. When I approached the van and asked the driver to move, he would not lower the window. When my father was walking out of his apartment towards my SUV, there was a home health provider working separately, watering or acting like she was watering the trees. When my dad was approaching my SUV, she says, "Don't go to his van, my SUV, get into the van." And when I said, "Why are you telling my dad to get into a van when I'm here to pick him up?" She goes, "Oh, it's because those are my bosses." So what do you mean they're your bosses? You work from home health agency. You're required to take care of the elderly, not to be politiqueando and soliciting votes and gathering up the old folks. And she goes, well, that's what they pay me. There's nothing wrong with me doing that. I said, yes, there's absolutely everything wrong. One, you don't have no permission to be here. Number two, who's going to, it's a third-party liability. If anything were to happen to these elderly people, who's going to be liable for it? Who's going to pay for it? And she says, I don't care. At that particular time, Norma Hernandez, which happens to be Aaron Hernandez that's running for Justice of the Peace, came around the corner screaming at me, yelling at me, telling me to shut up, that I was being a nuisance, that I should mind my own business. And I told her, I can't believe that you stoop so low to hire a home health provider to gather up the elderly, gather them up, and then take them to vote, passing out flyers. And this is a copy of the flyer that she was passing out. And it's obvious that it's got the people's they have the people's names that they want people to vote for. So my dad had a copy of this, and they said, oh, they're going around all the apartments telling people, we're going to pick you up, this is the flyer that we're giving you, and this is how we want you to vote as we're gathering you up. At that particular time, I had not called the police. I got a call from the son of the brother of the Justice of the Peace area, threatened me that they were going to do me bodily harm, that I had disrespected her mother. By telling her that she was doing this illegally and that she should not be hiring politiqueras. What ended up transpiring is that when I went back to drop on my father, they no longer had one van, they had two vans and a pickup blocking all entrances. But by that time, I just called 911, the police officers arrived, the manager of the complex arrived also and told the officers that she already had told Norma and one of the politiqueros that they weren't welcome there, that it was illegal for them to be there, and that she wanted them removed and asked them not to come back. So they're disrespecting everybody, abusing the elderly, not considering their health. If they were to fall, they're able to, if they need any assistance, just to go solicit a vote. And that to me is abuse of the elderly, taking advantage of the people that don't know, that are just out there to, they give them attention for a small period of time, so that they could think that they are friends, just so they could get a vote. And that to me is it's uncalled for. There's not even a name for that. It's unethical. It's corruption all the way around.
Was your dad able to come and vote with you?
Oh yes. My whole thing is that I did not go looking for them. I didn't know they were doing that. I just happened to arrive, and the lady completely got upset at the fact that my dad was coming to my SUV and said, no, do not go in his SUV, come on the van. And that's when it all just, I questioned them, and they told me they're my bosses. When she works for a home health agency. Her home health agency is her bosses. We are her bosses because they're taking care of our elderly. And I had every right to be there because my dad is a resident of the complex and I am a family member. And obviously, they had no right to be there because they were already told not to arrive and they were asked to leave for the second time.
And Ezekiel, do you think that there's any positive out of doing that, out of getting vans and chauffeuring the elderly or whoever it may be, someone who doesn't have a right? Do you think there's any good that comes out of that?
No, because the home health agencies have vans that are licensed, people that are trained to take the elderly. Now, the elderly have the right to vote. But I agree that they should be taken because, of course, they can't walk. Neither one of us walk to the places. But when you're just there for one specific reason, that to me is abuse, because they don't care about them throughout the year. They only care for them for that particular day, and that is to take them to vote, and then coach them how to vote. That to me is wrong, and there's no positive out of that.
Where do you think the problem lies? Do you think it's in the system? Do you think it's in the people and the culture of here you go, the mordida, the compadrismo?
It lies on politicians that are running for all the wrong reasons. And when you have somebody that's already been known to do this and continually do it, even though they've been warned and forewarned, I don't think it's the culture. I think that the culture is somewhat ignorant of what the rules of voting are, what you can and cannot do. And then you got certain politicians that are used to right at the fine line of what's legal and illegal, and they push it until they're busted, and then it's awareness. And then you tell the people, you can't do this anymore. So when they say, oh, well, we didn't know. So I think a lot of it is making people aware of what you can and cannot do. And not just a select few know the difference. So the more awareness we have, the less compadrismo, the less mordida, the less politiqueros are going to be solicited. And now we have a right to choose our proper candidate for our right choice.
Zeke, were you a candidate for something?
A while back, I was running for commissioner.
Okay, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Remember, for commissioner, county commissioner?
City commissioner, but I was taken out 6 times in 1 month. 3 on, 3 off, 3 on. That is just ridiculous. So I wasn't able to be placed on the ballot. It was against Charlie Atkinson.
Oh, okay, that's weird. That's a whole different story.